my fellow viewers and subscribers, and this is Supercholatemilkshake, and I am here responding to the comments that were made on my final thoughts on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now, first of all, I'm surprised how well this video did. In fact, this video did well than any of the other Month of Scares videos that came after it, which is kind of crazy, because usually the Month of Scares is probably like the biggest month I have for my YouTube channel, basically. I mean, there's a lot of popular videos that are from the Month of Scares on this channel. If you don't believe me, look it up. You'll see that most of the videos that are on the top when you search the popular tab is basically Month of Scares content. But, in other words, this video actually did pretty well, and it got quite a few comments too. In fact, I was expecting to defend myself with some of this stuff, but I didn't have to do nearly as much defending as I thought I would. In fact, I only had to defend myself once, which is kind of amazing. I actually kind of like the fact that a lot of people came together and supported me and actually agreed with some of the views that I presented, and also agreed with a lot of the things that and some of the evidence I also had to put up for it too. In fact, I had to go through and recall like several different videos just to remember what was going on behind the scenes at Game Freak and what could also be going on behind the scenes with something like that. Also, I did leave Nintendo out only because of the fact that they're mostly the bastion of quality, but I did also watch another video that also said that, hey, look, even if Nintendo has like maybe a third of the share of the company, it's still their fault for letting it slip underneath their radar, and that is something I cannot disagree with either, okay? But anyway, if you want to watch this video before you get into this video, you can go right ahead. The link is down below in the description. I will have it pinned to the top of the comments, and I will also probably have a card here, and it will be marked at the end of this video. So, of course, if you want to watch this video first and then watch my other video next, go right ahead and do it, but you're going to be diving in completely blind, let me tell you. So, anyway, I figured I might as well get this one out of the way before I do anything else, because, first of all, I do actually have more Pokemon videos planned. One of them is actually being what I would do if I had control of the Pokemon franchise, and then another one would be, well, what I would pitch for like a bit of a Pokemon substitute myself. So, stay tuned for those videos, okay? They're gonna be pretty exciting. But in the meantime, let's start diving into our comments now, shall we? Alright, starting off with a comment from the user, Nice Milk Jugs. Suggestive name, but okay. These types of videos are very cool, very informative. You have talked about the game more than anyone else I've seen in 30 minutes on YouTube. Keep up the good work. Why, thank you! Well, of course, I will admit this video was a bit improvised, and I wasn't expecting it to be like 30 minutes long, but to tell you the truth, most of my thoughts throughout this video were pretty consistent. I had in mind what I wanted to say, I had in mind what I wanted to get out, and even if I didn't write any of that down, which was my fault, I should have written it down, it would have kept it a little more consistent, and probably kept the video a lot shorter. I will admit, I did a pretty good job keeping most of my thoughts on a one-line track. Though, granted, I really do need to start focusing a little bit more on the quality of these videos, and also for my next upcoming videos for the Pokemon, what I would do if I had the control of the Pokemon franchise, and my alternative pitch for Pokemon. Basically, I kind of wanted to, like, keep it a little more concise, so I'll be writing scripts for those. But in the meantime, yes, I was doing some thorough research, and I was trying to do my best to make sure that all the ends meet. Okay? So anyway, or well, all the ends meet, and everything I presented was pretty much logical. Mika Murayamai. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Please don't kill me if I mispronounced it. I'm sorry. I am very, very sorry. You can slap me if you ever meet me in real life. Honestly, the fact that Game Freak got rid of requiring an HM is the biggest issue. HMs were a perfect way of stopping players from exploring places they didn't want, and is true for even a game that is a full open world. The whole problem with people seem to have with HM is that most people didn't like the fact that they had to effectively sacrifice a move slot for some of the Pokemon which could be used for a better move, which is less of an issue with HM themselves and more shows how outdated the approach to Pokemon movesets and your Pokemon only being able to know 4 moves only at one time is. I can actually agree with most of this. Granted, I actually am kind of happy with the fact that they got rid of the HM thing, but at the same time, I can also understand why it's also... Well, no, they didn't get rid of HMs, actually. Here's the thing. If you shorten up Herba Mystica and you just took the first letter and the last letter from that, guess what you get? HM. So, in a nutshell, basically HMs are not dead. In fact, if anything, the HM thing is more of a restriction on open world design. And while I get it, that basically they didn't want players going absolutely everywhere they wanted, or anywhere that they wanted at a certain time because, oh yeah, we had to make the game as linear as possible. I think that the HM design is really more a hindrance to open world design rather than, well, kind of an improvement upon open world design. Because, I mean, when you think about it, in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, you could basically go almost anywhere. I mean, heck, you could even go straight up and challenge the final boss with 3 hearts and the lowest stamina possible without the Master Sword. Like, yeah, you could totally do that if you wanted to. But here's the thing. I actually do think that HMs were kind of a problem to begin with, and yes, I do agree with the fact that HMs ended up taking a move slot that really didn't necessarily need to be taken up and could have been used for a much better move. I do honestly agree with that. I think that was kind of a dumb design philosophy in the first place, but at the same time, I can understand why they did that in the terms of, like, well, for the original Pokemon series, because they wanted to hinder game progress, and it was probably the only creative way to do that. But if you want to hinder game progress now, I think there are far more better and effective ways of doing that. And yeah, their 4-move design is kind of outdated. I really wish they kind of had like a 5th move or a 6th move, or maybe even a 7th move. Or how about this? They add moves that can, or how about this? Add a move that can combine 2 moves together. So, you know, like if you want to have like an ability move and another move, and it will probably like reduce the chances, but it could also improve the power output, and maybe also increase the chances of like the enemy getting stunned, you know, something like that. Or decreasing the chance of getting hit anyway. Or landing a hit. I think something like that would also work too. And also, I think that it would also be interesting if they added like dodge moves, so that you can tell your Pokemon to move out of the way with a random chance of not being hit. I mean, I think that would also work out really well too. And more than just like double team, because come on, that just takes up a slot that could also be used for another useful move. And I mean, granted, double team is useful in its own right, but to be fair, it would be nice if we had like double team and then like 6 other attack moves, or like 4 attack moves and then double team, you know? I mean, something like that. I do agree with this philosophy, though. So, anyway, time to move on to the next comment. Alright, so Luigi Funtime 7665. Holy cow, what a username. I'm a big fan of Luigi myself. Anyway, I agree with you because I immediately passed this game up because it's super depressing to play. And I lose my grandpa this year and okay, I feel like part of this might have been a meme, but I don't know. If you did lose your grandpa this year, I'm very sorry. My heart goes out to you, okay? But I can understand why you passed this game up, because it is super depressing to watch. I mean, if it's kind of super depressing to watch, then it's kind of super depressing to play. And let's face it, the YouTuber that I primarily watched played it was entertaining only because he was bored himself. Like, seriously. I even watched him play the Scarlet and Violet DLC that came out of recent. Oh, what was it? The, Teal Mask! The Teal Mask DLC. There we go, that's what it was called. And, yeah, no, it looked just as boring. I mean, and tell you the truth, some of the characters were kind of, not very well written. Like I said, it was terrible. There was a lot of footnotes used for that story, too. And granted, even if it gets better towards the end, it's still necessarily not great by any means. So, honestly, I can understand why you passed this game up, and I am happy that you agree with me. Alright, Gotta Fist 'em all says... Okay, Gotta Fist 'em all? Okay, I'm not questioning it. I have a username called Supercholatemilkshake, and it's abbreviated SUCHMISH, but, you know, whatever. Anyway... A delayed game will eventually be good, but a bad game is forever bad. Or bad forever. Okay, he reversed that, but still. Let me update that famous quote from Miyamoto. Well, actually, tell you the truth, somebody did some research and found out that it wasn't a Miyamoto quote, but oh well. A delayed game will eventually be good, but a bad game is bad forever. However, if people are willing to buy an unfinished and buggy games that are still technically playable, that's perfectly fine too, guess I lol. I guess, lol. I read that a little too quickly, but you know what, it makes sense the way you read it. Yeah. Oh man, that kind of hurts. That is kind of true though. They might as well say that, because that's the approach that Nintendo and the Pokemon Company have been doing for so long now. Scarlet and Violet are so glitchy that when your player character are acting... Wow, grammar. That when your player character is acting like a demon-possessed on release truly shows where the TPC priorities are set up on. Money. I do agree with that. I very much agree with that. Because, yeah, that's kind of where they're primarily focused on, is just money. They're not doing anything else. And right now, probably their biggest moneymaker is merch. So probably right now, they're just more focused on trying to get as many releases as they can, trying to get as many different Pokemon out as they can, so that they can keep producing merch and continuing to produce the TV shows, just so that they can make more money off the merch and the TV shows. The games really are inconsequential to them, which is kind of sad, because again, I've mentioned in this video that the games came first. Like, they weren't based off of a book, they weren't based off of TV shows, they weren't based off of any movies, and heck, the merch didn't come first. The games came first. It came out with a very unique premise at the time, and unfortunately, a premise that has refused to evolve, refused to change, and refused to show any kind of change. Like, come on. Their dated philosophy of having only one save slot is kind of dumb. Considering that, granted, multiple save slots were available on consoles like the DS. Heck, even the Game Boy Advance had some multiple save slots, if I remember correctly, but I don't know. You can comment down below if I'm wrong about that. But, yeah, it's kind of dumb. And yes, I do agree, they should be bug testing their games and pushing release dates back if it's so buggy that the main character looks like it's a demon-possessed character, you know? I mean, that's just not right in any way, shape, or form. So anyway, let's move on to the next comment. Yuzagazika46, which, by the way, if I'm mispronouncing that, you could slap me in real life if I am mispronouncing that. Scarlet and Violet are the third worst Pokemon games I've ever played, right after Sword and Shield, and nothing could probably dethrone BDSP. Fairly good arguments there. For the first time, I didn't finish a Pokemon game that I bought, and continued to play Platinum instead. Well, okay, you went back to a DS title, actually. Holy cow. Even though, actually, I heard Platinum was probably the best version of Diamond and Pearl, but really, I didn't play Diamond and Pearl, so I don't know what went on with those games. But, personally, I would love to get my hands on Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and then Black and Black and White 2, because I heard those are probably the best games in the series. I refused to buy Scarlet's DLC. I only picked up the game in the first place 3 months after release because I thought they had fixed it. Game Freak is the most disappointing studio I have ever seen. Actually, they did fix it, but their fix doesn't work. Basically what their fix does is that it removes NPCs from the cities. Are you kidding me? Like, they removed all the NPCs from the cities and it still lags, it still freaks out, it still has issues trying to render most of the stuff, and now their cities feel a lot more lifeless and barren? Wow! I mean, talk about a solution where the best solution is you shoot yourself inside the foot, you get a prosthetic foot to replace that foot, and you shoot your prosthetic foot. That is dumb! Why would they do that? Gosh dang it. I don't know why they did that. People defending the studio by calling them indie are ridiculous. And as I said in the video, I do agree, because to tell you the truth, by this point, Pokemon isn't no longer an indie franchise. Come on, they got miles and miles of merch. They have a movie, they have several movies, they have TV shows. How on earth could you not say that's no longer indie? I mean, come on, I don't even consider Five Nights at Freddy's indie. I consider it more like a AA, more like a AA, a AAA, 4A maybe? A 4A maybe stretch, but a AAA game nonetheless. I actually do agree that Scarlet and Violet might as well be considered a AA game, because it is published by a third party that is owned by a second... Well, actually, no. It is a first-party company, actually. Game Freak is, surprisingly enough, a first-party company for Nintendo, because they literally have an office shown right in Nintendo's offices. How they managed to get games out on the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox, I have absolutely the PlayStation and Xbox, I have absolutely positively no idea, but, I mean... Let's face it, I do think that the idea of calling them an indie studio is absolutely ridiculous, because Pokemon is now officially a AA franchise. If not, maybe a single A. Who knows? I mean, they're up there with the likes of Mario and, they're up there with the likes of Mario and Zelda for Nintendo. And it's a first-party franchise, which basically means that no matter which way you look at it, calling them indie is dumb. Alright. And I pray every day that another studio picks up the IP, but I wonder how possible that even is. I doubt another studio is ever going to be able to pick up another IP, and granted, even if I started my own little indie studio and I wanted to try to pitch a Pokemon game, and I am actually planning on making a video talking about what I would like to do with that pitch, yeah, I don't think I could even get the Pokemon franchise, because it's their sacred little baby. They don't want anybody else getting control of it. I mean, if you haven't noticed, the amount of third-party Pokemon games have gone down quite a bit. Quite literally. I mean, there was probably maybe 2 or 3, and both of them were developed by Bandai Namco, and that was it. Yeah, that's ridiculous, isn't it? But yeah, they don't rely on third parties, and the one time they did rely on a third party, which is I Love Computer Arts, they created Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl! That's I'm sorry, but that's just bad. It's just terrible. I'm trying to replay Scarlet to see if I missed some magic hem somehow the last time, but there's a reason I turned my eyes to Ulterior. Pokemon is becoming dead to me because it's made a studio that plain doesn't give a damn. I agree with this wholeheartedly. To tell you the truth, this is just something that is an undisputable truth by this point. Game Freak is just no longer caring for their game franchise. They're just like, oh yeah, we'll just copy the original formula and then apply it to something else and add a new gimmick for each and every game, because this is what Pokemon's supposed to be like. We're not going to change up the formula. We're not going to do anything else. In fact, when it comes down to it, this is something that Moist Critical said himself. I would rank Game Freak as an F tier because basically all their job is to come in and copy and paste code. And they're not even good at doing that. I agree with that. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Honestly, I shouldn't be agreeing with that, but I am. And it is true. Game Freak is just not that good, especially when it comes down to being a major AAA or AA, heck, even single A developer. There is just no excuse for them anymore at this point. They don't need to be considering themselves indie, because that's just a dumb excuse now. There is no more reason for it. They make more money off of Pokemon than Disney does off of Mickey Mouse. It is ridiculous. Come on, guys. Our last comment comes from Sonic20fan. Wow, you disabled the dislike. Look, people are going to hate it and take it ever as opinion to block. Their opinion is unless they're toxic. Are you having a stroke while typing this? First of all. Second of all, I would also like to say that, actually, all my videos have the dislike button blocked. So, there is practically no point in arguing this. The reason why I blocked the dislike button was because of an argument that was made by another YouTuber. Though, granted, I do see why the dislike button is useful in the terms of how-to videos, because that way you can tell if it's a scam how-to or a real how-to, And that's kind of the case here. But for you, I don't know what to say about this one, because to tell you the truth, again, I only blocked it because of the fact that I felt like blocking it, and for no other reason. And not that it matters anyway, because most people can never really see the dislike button without having a certain add-on on their browser. I mean, that's kind of the thing. So, no matter which way you look at it, you really can't necessarily see the dislikes anyway, and I know people are going to call it toxic. I know that some people are going to hate it. That's why I was expecting to do more defense with this. But, unfortunately, the only defense that I had to put up was with your comment, man. What the heck? What the heck? Alright, so anyway, that was it for this video. So basically, if you want to stay tuned for the next 2 upcoming videos that I have listed up for Pokemon, which is what I would do if I had control of the franchise, and of course, my pitch for a Pokemon alternative, then please be sure to stay tuned to this channel. Hit that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and comment down below. I would love to see more of your opinions, and maybe I should probably do some more reaction videos like this too, to more comments that you guys might leave. I might do that sometime in the future. I hope you guys might enjoy this kind of content. And honestly, I kind of enjoy interacting with a bit of an audience too. So, anyway, and if you want me to do more personal opinion pieces like this, then please let me know down in the comments as well. I would love to give out some more personal opinions about some certain franchises and certain things. So, anyway, again, with that being said, this is Superchocolatemilkshake, signing off.